I was lucky enough to get into the closed global beta for Aniimo! And honestly, this has been one of my most anticipated games ever since the trailer first dropped. The idea of exploring a huge world, collecting adorable creatures, and actually becoming those creatures in combat sounded incredibly unique. So after spending a good amount of time in the beta and completely forgetting that I needed to make this video, I finally got the experience everything Aniimo had to offer. Did it live up to the hype? Well, mostly. I had an absolute blast during the beta, even though I ran into a few bugs and systems that definitely need more work before the actual launch. Today, I want to talk about my overall experience, what surprised me, what needs improvement, and whether Aniimo is shaping up to become one of the best creature capture collection games on the market. Let's jump into it! For anyone who hasn't been following the game, Aniimo is an upcoming open-world action RPG where you capture, collect, and bond with magical creatures known as Aniimos. Instead of simply commanding them like other monster collection games, cough cough, you actually fuse with your Aniimo and fight as them. Mix it together with exploration, puzzles, events, housing, and progression systems, you've got a game that is trying to combine a lot of different genres into one experience. After playing the beta, I can definitely see the vision that they're going for. The first thing that stood out to me was just how enjoyable it was to explore. The world never felt empty from an environmental standpoint. There was puzzles hiding around every corner, little side objectives, collectibles, roaming Aniimos, and enough things scattered around that I constantly found myself getting distracted. And honestly, that's exactly what I want from an open world game. Every region had its own identity, while still blending naturally into the next area. Sometimes when you got too close to the zone borders, they started feeling a little similar. But overall, I really liked the variety. That said, the world also felt strangely empty in another way. Not because there wasn't enough content, but because there wasn't that many people. You'll see plenty of Aniimos running around for you to catch, but the world itself sometimes lacked that extra spark that makes other open world games feel alive. I'd also love to see more side quests added before launch. The foundation is there, it just feels like it needs more reasons to keep exploring. Combat was probably one of the biggest surprises for me. Instead of fighting alongside your Aniimos, you become them. Each Aniimo has its own attacks, combos, abilities, and upgrade paths, which makes unlocking new creatures genuinely exciting. I constantly wanted to swap my party around because different Aniimos work better against different enemies. Party composition actually matters. You're building different strategies for each different type of boss you're fighting. My biggest criticism though is that the combat felt way too easy. Outside of a few encounters, I rarely felt challenged. Hopefully launch will introduce harder world difficulties or tougher enemies because the combat itself is fun to support that, it just needs a bit more of a challenge. Speaking of Aniimos, these creatures are easily the game's biggest selling point. The designs are fantastic. Some are adorable, some look powerful, some are weird in the best possible way. Every time I found a new Aniimo, I wanted to know what it evolved into or what alternative forms I could unlock. They're really a great mix between cute animals and fantasy creatures. I generally think these designs alone are going to pull a lot of players into trying into the game. And I really hope that as the game progresses in future updates, they added more Aniimos. Because you know what's missing? There's no bunny kind of Aniimo. Like, what is this? Make it happen. Please. Coming back to the puzzles, I want to talk about sanctums. These are puzzle areas scattered across the world. Most of them are fairly simple, which I did find disappointing, but there are a few of them that you do have to actually try in. There are a few of them that are two-player sanctums that can be completed with friends or random players. I also liked how these puzzles naturally taught you how to work with different Aniimos. So they're kind of like little tutorial phases, so you can understand what you can do and how you can utilize your Aniimo. Instead of giving long, drawn-out tutorials, they let you learn through gameplay and unique puzzling. I'd definitely love to see more difficult puzzle content added later on, but this was a great start! One thing Aniimo really does well is giving players something to work towards. The leveling guide points you towards different activities that gives you the best experience possible, so you're never wondering what to do next. Then you have weekly events like Stamp Rush, where you're rewarded for simply playing different parts of the game. I actually thought this was a really smart system. It encouraged exploration while giving players useful rewards without forcing them to spend money. However, one event really got me worried, and that is the Aurelius's Capture event. Because stronger premium capture cubes made catching the event Aniimo specifically easier. While as a free-to-play players could absolutely complete it, it will take so much more of your resources in your capturing cubes than those who are paying for the specialty cubes. Since the event only would last 5 days in the global beta, which maybe it will last longer in the launch, it did raise some concerns about whether some players would feel pressured into buying those premium cubes just to finish capturing the Aniimo. Especially since she was so pretty. Like, oh my gosh, look at her. Oh. The good news, though, is the developers were actively collecting community feedback during the beta, so hopefully this gets adjusted before launch. Because during the beta, they did mention that they were hearing our concerns and are going to be taking that back to the team and seeing what they can do better. Now, my favorite activity in the entire beta was easily the egg heist event. I actually played the whole thing solo. I heard from World Chat mentioning that matchmaking wasn't the greatest, so I decided to just see if I could clear it myself. And absolutely! I love that I could do that. Normal mode was no problem to do solo. Hard mode, still manageable, but it was a bit harder to do. That flexibility is exactly what I'm looking for in multiplayer content, though. It's great. You can play with friends, queue with randoms, or just challenge yourself alone. That's an everyone wins moment. Now, the nightmare difficulty. That mode has hands. The boss in there absolutely destroyed me, and I had to go back and do some upgrading. It felt like it was something designed for fully upgraded players or a coordinated groups. And honestly, I think that's perfectly okay. I mean, it's nightmare mode. You can't expect it to go well right away. It was nice having aspirational content waiting for you for later, and I really love that. And then you also get these eggs that you get to hatch later for specialized Aniimos. So you get like these unique forms that you couldn't get anywhere else. So it's definitely something to grind for when the game launches with this event, and it's something good that you can do on your own time. So you're not feeling pressured to have to do it yourself or getting with friends. You do it your pace, and it's all good! Another activity was Holo Battles. These act as practice fights against different Aniimos and teach you their attack patterns. They're well designed and definitely useful if you want to master combat. Personally though, I didn't spend a lot of time here. The open world already teaches you how enemies fight. Badge battles do about the same thing. So, holo battles end up feeling a little redundant for me, but I can definitely see them becoming an important part to the end game grind. But during the beta, they weren't something that I kept coming back to. I did see that there was a holo battle event where you queued up with different people to tackle a bigger boss, and the rewards on that would be useful for endgame players. So do keep this in mind for later on. Now, we have to talk about my favorite feature in the entire game, the Homeland. If you've watched my channel for a little while, you already know that I love housing systems. Aniimo completely won me over here. You enter through this magical portal into your own huge personal space, and you get like a cute little bus. It starts off pretty empty, but slowly transforms into a massive automated production area. Your Animos aren't just for decorations either. You turn them into slaves. Some are actually better workers than fighters. Different personality traits and work speeds made certain Animos incredibly valuable for managing your homeland. I love checking in every single day. Sometimes they start working because they have good dreams. Sometimes they literally headbutt each other into being productive. It's adorable! Daily orders give you the resources needed to upgrade everything. The whole system felt respectful of your time. Log in, spend around an hour managing your homeland, collect your rewards, then go back out exploring or doing something else. Honestly, I wouldn't change much here. It was one of the most polished parts of the entire beta. Now let's talk about progression. Progression is handled through elite training. Instead of forcing everyone down one path, you're given several objectives and only need to complete 3 of them before increasing your level cap. That freedom was something I deeply appreciated. Maybe you enjoy exploring, or you prefer the activities, or you just like the combat portion of Aniimo. You can level the way you want to. And even better, when you hit your level cap, experience doesn't disappear. It gets stored away until you unlock the next level cap, and then you'll see the experience go up. So sometimes when you got through your elite training, you could already be 1 level up. So for example, if you were level 40, unlocked it, you could be level 41. That means you're never punished for continuing to play the game. It's a small quality of life feature that makes a huge difference and allows you to have something to do when you're like, I don't know what to do. And you just look at your elite training and you're like, oh, well, I could go get more Animos to unlock this area. Yeah! Now, let's talk about my biggest criticism, the economy. There are simply too many currencies. You have gold, which is your general economy currency. Then you got a premium currency for the shop. Then you got glimmer. And then almost every event introduces another currency. Like the stamp rush had its own currency of stamps. And then the Aurelius's special event also had a currency where you could buy items through there. And it just became overwhelming very quickly. Half of the time, I wasn't even sure where I was supposed to be spend everything on, and I just think that a lot of the currencies should be combined. Otherwise, new players are going to get confused, and that feels a bit predatory because then you're pushing people to buy the premium currency instead of learning how to spend the money correctly. The shop itself raises some concerns, and that's because the character cosmetics, they look great, but there is some bugs with them, which is very disappointing. I do hope that they fix them because it is a bug. And there is going to be a battle pass, which, I mean, it's 2026, that's not really surprising. And I do think that they make the battle pass quite fair in terms of how the progression goes, because you do get a lot of items through the free, and then the premium kind of just adds more to it. But what worries me the most is the pricing overall. One sparkling cube ended up costing about $20 when we did the conversions, and that's a really tough sell. Sparkling cubes allow you to turn your Aniimo into a sparkling one, which is a rarer type that can make this game feel almost pay to win. So I do hope they start adjusting that or figure out different ways to handle the sparkling cube, because this is going to be such a massive turnoff for people. I love to see the lowering of prices, or more ways for free-to-play players to slowly earn premium currency through the game, or just some better way in handling all the currencies and the shop in general. It's way too much, it's overwhelming, and it's going to be a massive issue if they keep it like this for launch. Considering this is a beta, the game was actually very stable. The biggest issue I ran into was a lag zone near some of the campfires where you could have players gather. So the idea is in the open world, you have these campfires that you can enter and you'll be able to meet up with people. But it turned into just like a frame rate lag and rubber band, and it was just not fun. So I just had to avoid them altogether. I also had a few loading screens that got stuck where I was forced to restart the game to get me loaded in. But I mean, those are kind of normal. And every once in a while, some text will randomly appear in Chinese instead of English. So they got some translation stuff to do. But none of these felt game-breaking. They're exactly the kind of issues you would expect in this type of beta, considering they've had some other betas previously that went over many of the other bugs. So, very nice, very stable, didn't have too many issues, which is always good. Overall, I had a fantastic time with the Aniimo closed beta. There are definitely areas that need improvements. The currency system needs simplifying. Some premium pricing concerns need to be addressed. The world could use a little more life in it. And I love to see harder combat throughout the game. But underneath all of that, there's something really special here. The creatures' designs are incredible. The combat actually felt unique. The homeland system completely stole the show for me. And exploring the world was generally fun from start to finish. I'm excited to see how the developers respond to player feedback because I really think Aniimo has the potential to become one of the best creature collection games on the market. If they can polish some of the rough edges before release, this is going to be a contender for Game of the Year in 2027, or if it comes out in 2026, then it probably wouldn't be able to make it, but it definitely is there. If you played the beta, let me know your favorite feature down in the comments. And if you haven't played yet, what part of Aniimo are you most excited for? If you enjoyed this first impressions video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more content, and feel free to check out more of my videos. I enjoy playing Helldivers 2 and Final Fantasy 14. I'll see you on the next adventure. Stay sweet. Bye-bye!